Welcome everyone, Kyle here for we've gotten around to it, our special Q&A video. And I didn't want to do just a normal Q&A video alone with an iPad or a piece of paper, me reading the questions off. I thought I would get a special guest, a friend of the channel, a friend to us all, Mr. David C. Anderson, live from 15 miles down the road, maybe 10 miles, maybe not even that far, I don't know. But David has happily joined us to ask me the questions and have a little discussion together. So David, thank you for doing this for me. I appreciate it.
Oh, Kyle, it's my pleasure. And if the last 20 minutes have taught me anything, it's that I guarantee the outtakes and the setup video will be 10 times better than the actual Q&A.
I don't know if we want to show some of that stuff. That might be better left to the imagination. We'll see. Maybe
okay. You could start a Patreon.
There you go. I'm sure people would love to pay for this.
Yeah.
Well, David, thank you for joining me, and thank you for asking these questions. This is something we'll probably do maybe twice a year or something. I get a lot of great questions on my Twitter at SirPaul64, my Instagram at _Kyle_Peterson. I get a lot of questions on there, and I get a lot of questions in the YouTube comments. So feel free to keep shooting those, and we'll save any other ones that come from this for the next video.
So, David, all right. Well, yeah, let's do it, man. Let's get started. So, really, I am the man that asks the questions. I am the man in search of truth. And so, we're going to talk about your collection. We're going to talk about figures, but we're also going to talk about the man, Kyle Peterson, the real life human being that is Kyle Peterson. So, the first question is, Kyle, what do you do for a living?
Well, I collect figures for a living is what it seems like. It seems like an action figure collecting. It's a full-time job. A lot of you guys probably the same way. But I do have a real job, believe it or not. Shockingly enough, I have a real job. And that real job is, I'm an executive for a major company. We'll just put it at that. A major food company.
Okay. All right. That's fair enough.
But yeah, I have a very busy life, very high stress job. That is for sure. And this is some of my escapism, I guess, from that very high stress job.
Fair enough. Now, for those who have been to the channel and have seen the videos, you've talked several times about this mysterious executive job that you have. I guess pre-COVID had you traveling all over the Midwest. So, again, pre-COVID, before everything went into lockdown, on all these different journeys that you're making across this great land of ours, give us a ballpark idea on an average pre-COVID week. How many stores do you think that you were hitting before everything shut down?
Oh, geez. Yeah, I mean, I did travel quite a bit pre-COVID, of course. Now I'm pretty much locked in this room. This is my home office that you guys have seen in the video. But yeah, pre-COVID, I was on the road a lot of meetings. I'd go travel for a meeting. I'd take a meeting all day. I'd get a hotel stay. I'd get a pizza. That's a whole nother side of me that I don't talk a lot about on here, at least, my pizza connoisseurism. But then I'll hit stores. I'll hit 7-8 stores. I'll go to the Twin Cities, and I'll hit, 10 Walmarts and Targets at night. But I think most weeks, I was probably 30 to 50 stores a week, depending where I'm at. That's a lot of stores, but also part of what I do for a living, I have to go to some of these stores. So it's kind of a 2-for-1 deal. Hey, I'll journey over to the toy section, check out, and see what's going on over there while I'm there. Why wouldn't you? Who wouldn't? So a lot of stores. It feels weird just searching stores now in my home area and for work. I was in Kansas City, Chicago, Minneapolis, Madison, Wisconsin, all over Missouri, Kansas, South Dakota, basically an 8-state area I would have meetings and travel to.
Excellent. So, in all of those many, many journeys that took you all across the Midwest into dozens and dozens of stores on a weekly basis, obviously, when you spend that much time in the stores, you're bound to get the hits. You're bound to find the good stuff. So, if you can, in maybe just one or two examples out of all of your travels, give us your top two or three scores that you found amongst all of your journeys across the Midwest hunting.
Oh boy, you're really stumping me. There's been so much. I can say I don't know if there's ever been something I haven't found in the stores. Everything I've ever wanted, I've found eventually. Maybe not right first day, but eventually I have found it. Obviously, the Harley race, Mattel was a huge, huge find. I didn't know it at the time. That set had just released, and just like any other Mattel set, hey, it's out there, it's coming. Thought I got it right away. I was traveling in Omaha at the time. Stumbled across the case, picked it up, bought it. Didn't know the significance of that at the time, but holy cow, I don't know where I would be without finding that, because I never saw that case ever again. I mean, I was hardcore on the road during the time of that dropping. I don't think there was a case delivered to Iowa, at least not that I know of, the state I live in. And even Minnesota, Missouri, I was traveling, I didn't see any of those. I got it once, and that was it. So very fortunate. I didn't think it at the time, but that was a big one. And then I go way back to even pre this, when I was a kid, Toy Biz, Spider-Man figures from the early 90s. A lot of people probably remember those. And I've never really got the story on this, but there was a Rhino figure. Never in the stores, ever. And then finally, like a year after they were released, I found him at the Dollar Tree for $2, cases of them. So that was a huge find, because I don't know what the deal. This is pre-eBay, pre-internet. You didn't know what the heck the story was, and that one was impossible to find. But I've been able to find, luckily, everything I've ever looked for just because of my travels. When you hit that many stores, you're bound to find it. So I do have a leg up on, I don't know if you call it the competition, but other figure hunters, because I am in so many stores for my real world job.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So you mentioned that you're a pizza connoisseur. So you're a man of many tastes and many talents. Obviously, you're a big wrestling figure, action figure collector. You enjoy a good pizza. But let's talk about music. So obviously, we see on the back wall there, you've got some albums there, some covers signed. We know from watching the videos on the channel specifically, you're big into metal music. So tell us who some of your favorite bands of all time are, and give us maybe one or two of your best metal concert experiences.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a huge metalhead. I mean, you guys, like David said, you've seen some of the videos and some of the discussions I've had. I mean, at one time, I haven't counted in a while, I had, well over 400 heavy metal shirts. That's basically, my closet was all black for the most part. But my all-time favorite band is Motorhead. I mean, I love Motorhead with a passion. A piece of me died when Lemmy died. I used to see Motorhead, 8-9 times a year. That was the other great thing about my travels for work. Oh, okay, Motorhead's on tour. I'm going to go to every single show in the Midwest, and I'll follow it for work. I can work my work schedule a little bit around that for a lot of the time. So that is huge. Concerts, I would see over 100 concerts a year most years. This year's been rough, obviously. There's no concerts going on, but love small heavy metal shows, up-and-coming bands. I mean, so many bands I saw when they were much littler that are bigger now. A lot of that. But Motorhead's my all-time favorite. I love Clutch is another band that I was introduced via Motorhead. They used to open up for Motorhead way back in the day. So Clutch is probably my favorite band to see live now. But I was born in 1980, and that is the greatest year of heavy metal. I won't go on as to why, but so many landmark heavy metal albums were released that year. But I love all those bands of Black Sabbath, Iron Maiden, Judas Priest, Merciful Fate. I could just go on for forever about metal. I love talking metal. I know I've listened to hundreds and hundreds, and actually not hundreds, thousands heavy metal albums in my life. It's probably one of the things that keeps me sane in life, I guess, is heavy metal. That is for sure.
So talking about heavy metal and music in general, are you Are you musically inclined? Do you play any instruments?
Yeah, I do play guitar. I mean, I don't know what that means. It's not like I'm Joe Satriani or somebody crazy. But I do play the guitar. I mean, I can sit there and play all the chords and stuff. I'm not some virtuoso. It's been a while since I played. I've been so busy with everything going on, but I can stumble my way through stuff. I'm no expert, but I know how to play.
So we've touched on this a little bit in some of the questions and some of the videos. So one of the questions here from one of the fans, and I'm guessing they haven't seen every video, but the question is, Kyle, are you single?
Maybe. I don't know. I don't know where the wife and kids are right now. Maybe they just closed up shop. But no, actually, you look at my collection video, which obviously was a big video with a lot of views and a lot of questions. There's a lot of comments in there. This guy's got to be single, which very funny. It's the funny joke. I get it. Whatever. But no, I've been married for over 10 years now. I got 2 kids. My wife, Angie, is a saint. There's not many wives that wouldn't bat an eye about all this kind of stuff and my craziness and you guys see my videos, how mental I am on some things. Like, I got to have 2 of this one. Or like just tonight I was at Walmart looking for the WWE Masters of the Universe figures, the new Series 3. I've convinced myself I need 4 of the New Day because in the package, each face is turned. So you got 3 members. I need 3 on card, and then I need 1 loose. So crazy things like that really shouldn't be, but it is. And I was trying to explain to my wife now, if she looks out for him when she's visiting stores and stuff, hey, here's what I need. But yeah, my wife, I'm definitely not single, and my wife, sorry ladies, I know there's a lot of lady viewers. I think it's under 1%. But it's growing, so we'll get there. But yes, I am married for over 10 years.
Excellent. So you just talked about your psycho tendencies of trying to figure out if you need something, how many of something you need, if you need it on card, if you need it loose. So we have a question here from one of the viewers: is MOC or loose? So MOC obviously is mint on card or loose out of the package. So for you, which do you prefer as a collector?
I tell you what, I would prefer to be mint on card. That comes as a shocker to some people, but I love in the package. I mean, you guys have seen my Classic Superstars room. I do have a lot of mint on card stuff, but when you're that deep down the rabbit hole and you have so much stuff as I do, imagine if they were all in package or in box. I mean, there would be no room in the house. I could never display all that. So that's what kind of turned me. Through Classic Superstars, I was 100% mint on card until we got a few series into the elites, and I said, whoa, the way this is going, that's when I went to being a loose collector, primary or loose. It's not like I'm buying this stuff either for huge resale value and thinking here's my retirement or something like that. Yeah, these are worth a lot. There's a lot of them that are worth a lot. Would they be worth more in the box? Of course they would. But I'm to the point where you got to enjoy your collection. If you don't want them in a box, I mean, I just wouldn't want them all stored away in totes. If I can't display it, I don't want it. That's my motto. So if I don't have room to display it, I don't need it.
Another great segue. You keep setting them up and keep knocking them down. So when you talk about your displays, you talk about kind of a rule of if I can't display it, I don't need it or I don't want it. So we've got a question here. How do you decide how to arrange the figures?
That's one, David and I have talked about in the past. We have a little different thoughts on the way to do it, I believe. So for me, I like to look, here is a shelf of Ultimate Warriors. I like to see all my Ultimate Warriors together, or, all my Hulk Hogan's together, or something like that. Where the other train of thought, I don't necessarily disagree with it. And I always say, it's everybody's collection, do whatever you want, it doesn't really matter. But a lot of people go, okay, here's Series 1, here's Series 2, here's Series 3. And that's not a bad idea either. Sometimes I look at my Mattels, for example, and say, I should rearrange these and do that. But then I think of how much time that would take me, and I say, holy cow, no way. But I usually do it if there's, like here's an ECW section, and I'll have all my ECW guys on that shelf. And then if there's like 10 Tommy Dreamers, they're all there together. That's how I do it. But I totally get people that do it by series, because that makes sense to me too. And, the AEW figures are launching here in a couple of months, and I very well may start that. We'll see. But So that's kind of a little bit of my philosophy there.
So we're going to jump back. We're kind of jumping all around. We're going from personal questions to music questions to wrestling figures, everywhere in between. So let's pause and let's take a step back. So what specifically got you into professional wrestling and collecting action figures? And I guess really, how long does that mean that you've actually been at this in terms of collecting?
I would say I've probably been collecting 37 years. Since I was 3 years old, I would say. I've always been so delicate with my toys, and I've always had a collector's mindset. And luckily, my dad shares kind of my same brain. He was a big collector back in the day with one of David's favorites, starting lineups. We were part of the golden age of starting lineups, traveling to conventions, traveling, around the country to those conventions. And okay, hey, it's Saturday morning. My dad doesn't have to work. Kyle doesn't have school. We're going to take, 5 hours of drive time looking for starting lineup figures. So it was ingrained into me at an early age, being on the hunt. And, the fun thing is, you collectors know, if you're back in the Toys R Us days, you wait outside, they're getting ready to open at 10 a.m. There's, a bunch of 30, 40-year-old men, and then there's 9-year-old Kyle ready to get his wheels on. And I would sprint, and, these guys would chase behind me or do that run-walk thing, like trying to look like they're not crazy. But I was my dad's secret weapon. I could run in, and I had zero shame at 9 years old. I'll sprint back there. I'll get every figure. And so I collected with my dad, and I actually started collecting figures before I started liking wrestling. You start with He-Man and stuff like that back in the day. And then it was right after WrestleMania 3 is when I got into wrestling, and I never stopped. It always went from there. And obviously, that time, the LJNs were hot and heavy. And I was all about the LJNs. You guys have seen some of that on my channel the last couple of months. But I was all in on the LJNs, then into the Hasbros, and into the Jacks. Took a little break, and then Classic Superstars came out and fired that engine all the way back up. So it's just been part of me, and it's always been something I've done. I've always loved going to stores. Just as a kid, your grandma, she's taking you to the store, and you get to buy something or whatever. Just a lot of great memories around figures for my whole life. That's for sure.
So we're going to detour. So something that you mentioned in that answer was when you were a kid, you were your dad's secret weapon when it came to collecting. And now that you're an adult, you have taken that on to the next generation as an adult. Share with everyone who your secret weapon is and some of the ways that your secret weapon has helped you out in collecting.
No, so we're talking about my wife, the secret weapon. I mean, she has found way too much stuff for me. Just luckily at Target, we live close to a Target, and she'll pop in that thing. I'll see a movement on Pop Finder or BrickSeek, and she'll run down there and get it for me, or there'll be a hot tip or whatever. But I think a lot of us guys know you go to Target and there's a case in the back, and you go to that Target employee and say, hey, can you help me out or whatever. Sometimes they'll help you. But who are they more inclined to help? 40-year-old Kyle or, my 30-year-old something wife that is a lot more attractive than I am, I guess. They bend over backwards to help her out and get stuff for her. It's just amazing how that works and how they hook her up. And, some of these stores even know her out there and know what she's looking for. Or they don't bat an eye for me, but they'll help her out. And hey, I got no shame. If that's what it takes, I got to get it. My wife has to go in there and ask. I kind of feel like a little kid sometimes. Hey, can you ask for me? They'll listen to you over me, and they always do. I mean, I can read those people a mile away. So, yep. She is definitely my secret weapon.
Excellent. So, talked about as a kid, Toys R Us, KB Toys. So many places that when we were kids, you could go to get figures and generally find what you're looking for. And now in the 21st century, so many of those places are just no longer in existence. So you, as the figure hunter, now the second generation adult figure hunter, where do you get most of your figures?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely not as fun. I think anybody would tell you that without Toys R Us in the mix, or even KB. I remember KB was always my kind of the last bastion, the last chance of hope as a kid. And they were always more expensive, and you hated that. But sometimes you had no choice. There was KB exclusives and stuff like that. But Without Toys R Us, the game has changed. It's still fun, but it's not as fun as it used to be. I always loved going to Toys R Us just for the heck of it sometimes. And I feel sad for my kids missing out on that Toys R Us experience. And even like David, you might remember. I don't know if you remember Children's Palace back in the day. That was in Des Moines area too before Toys R Us came to town. I mean, I remember sitting on my dad's shoulders going through the G.I. Joe guys as a kid, and he's looking down here at the bottom, and we're trying to check off my checklist. But these days, obviously, it's a lot of Mercari, a lot of eBay, a lot of Facebook groups, a lot of message boards. I mean, that's where the majority of stuff is found. And then, the eBay, Mercari, and then Walmart, Target, for a lot of things. And they're getting a lot more exclusives at Walmart and Target to make up for Toys R Us. One sleeper spot that I don't know if everybody checks is Walgreens. There's 25 Walgreens in my area, and they do get wrestling figures, Power Rangers, Star Wars, Marvel Legends. They get exclusives. So Walgreens has kind of become a hunt, it's nice because you can get in and out, but the bad thing is there's 25 of them. So you got to hit those too. But that's my primary stuff. Obviously, I'm on this Jax quest to get every Jax figure. That's been a whole lot of Mercari, a whole lot of eBay for that one. Because, boy, if you try to do it locally, you would never get it done. It just wouldn't happen.
So you mentioned Mercari, eBay, Amazon, a lot of online shopping. When you do online shopping, obviously that means packages being shipped to your house. We've all seen the weekly purchase videos. We've got a question here. What does your mailman think?
It's funny. My mailman is an older guy. I don't know, he's probably 60. A really good guy. I've definitely got to know him because he rings the doorbell, and my office is right by my front door. But he doesn't know what the heck I'm up to, and he's a huge metalhead because I'm wearing a heavy metal shirt a lot of days, so we always talk heavy metal. But the key out there, if you guys get a lot of packages, tip your mailman. Give that guy a $50 gift card. I think we got him one to Buffalo Wild Wings or something like that this Christmas. He was so appreciative. I thought the guy was almost going to cry. He was so appreciative. Very thankful ever to this day, and he's got no issues helping me out. If my neighbor likes to park in front of my mailbox, it drives me absolutely nuts. A lot of mailmen will just keep driving by because they don't know whose car that is or whatever. He knows it's not mine. He takes the trip up here and helps me. I mean, totally awesome. Tip your mailman. It goes a long way. That is for sure. I found that out in the last few years.
Well, another popular segment on some of the videos on the channel is obviously everyone's favorite mascot of the channel, your dog, Lemmy.
Yes.
I guarantee that anytime that Lemmy makes an appearance in the videos, guaranteed extra hits, extra views. So folks want to know what kind of dog is Lemmy and what are some good Lemmy stories you can share.
Yeah, I think he's 3 he'll be 3 years old in another month. In August, he'll be 3, and he is a Corgi Poo. So Welsh Corgi, Pembroke Welsh Corgi Poodle. So he's more Corgi in the looks, and the Poodle is he doesn't shed, which is a really nice thing. Where Corgis shed like crazy, Lemmy doesn't shed, so that's nice. But Lemmy's awesome. He's the most nice guy. He's always by my side. Just a sweetheart of a dog. Sometimes he'll get onto the channel, as you guys have seen. He's been a little quiet the last few weeks. Summertime, we have a big pool in the backyard, and he swims out there in that pool all summer long and plays fetch, basically. So I think come the fall and winter, you'll see more Lemmy videos, but right now he's so content chasing ground squirrels and rabbits and all that stuff in the backyard, too. But Lemmy, there's a lot of crazy Lemmy stories. I mean, he knocked over, I was setting up for that entrance grate video, I'll never forget that, and he loves playing with his ropes and balls and was chasing it around, bumped into the table, knocked Goldberg over, cracked the plastic on the Goldberg. And, the worst part about that was like 2 months before that at Target, those were on clearance for like $9. So it wouldn't be that big deal to get another one. Now they're like $35, and I haven't replaced it yet. I need to do that. I can only be mad at him for a second. I mean, he always means well. He's the nicest guy. He's always my companion. Sitting, whenever I'm filming videos, he is down there by my feet the majority of the time. He's always around. So,
as I look there at the office decor, again, we've mentioned some of the album covers you have there. I notice over your left shoulder, you have what appears to be an autographed album cover by a band there. I'm not sure who, but it's okay. So that leads us to another question when talking about autographs. So let's talk about autographs on figures, wrestling figures, any other kind of figures, starting lineups. Where does Kyle Peterson land on the subject of autographs on figures? Yes or no?
Yeah, a loaded question, but it's funny. I get asked that a lot, which just kind of seems like a weird question a little bit. But once again, for me personally, I'm not a big autograph figure collector. I don't know. For some reason, it takes away from the figure. So for me, if I'm going to have an autographed figure in my collection, I want to have that figure mint in package, not autographed, and then I'll get another one to be autographed. So that's kind of how my mind works. I'm not an autograph collector, really. I mean, I obviously have some throughout my years of stuff. You know, you just kind of stumble across that stuff. But, like, you know, a perfect example is Jack's Classic Superstars Hillbilly Jim, the red boots. I think it was available only at WrestleMania. He was signing all of them. So every single one is signed. It drove me nuts. For a long time, I was looking for one with no autograph. I don't know if there ever is one. I've never seen one not autographed. So I've had to accept I'm going to have it with his autograph on there, which is weird because most people would want it. But I think an autograph to me means a lot more if I get it in person. If I got it in front of the person or whatever, that means a lot more to me for sure. But traditionally, I would prefer to have no autographs on the figure, which is really weird because I think most people would probably be the other way. But everybody's different, as I always say, in their collecting. But not for me. If I stumble across something or I have an opportunity to get something, I'll do it. But if I'm only going to have one of that figure, it's got to be non-autographed.
Fair enough. So we'll talk, obviously, about several different lines of figures, specifically wrestling figures. But there's an interesting question here. So obviously, through a lot of the videos that you've done on the channel, you've talked about favorite lines that you've enjoyed collecting, have collected, or still collecting. This question here is, and this is pertaining to WWE and I guess WWF figures. So besides the R3 and Titantron Live, what action figure lines do you never see yourself collecting?
Oh boy. Yeah, I mean, yeah, you said the Titantrons and the R3s. I mean, I think I made it known I just can't stand those. I mean, that is why I jumped out of figures. I love the early Bone. I'm talking to the Bone Cruncher master here, David Anderson. You know, I love the Bone Cruncher just like he did. I was all in. I thought they were great. But then the R3, I mean, a lot of people love the head scans and stuff in the R3s. Something about them. I mean, they just did not appeal to me at all. I mean, I was probably 18 when those came out, so I don't know if that was part of it too. If I was 8 or 9, maybe I'd be all in. I'd have a different memory of those. But basically, those are when I jumped out of figures. Titantrons, I jumped out, and then I got back in with Classic Superstars. But the other figures I never could stand, and one of my videos I got rid of them were the Marvel Toy Biz figures. I did not like those, or not the Marvel Toy Biz, the WCW Marvel Toy Biz figures. David knew what I meant. But I got rid of those. And then I just cannot stand the original San Francisco Toy Maker WCW, like the vibrating ones. I never got those back then. I just did not understand it. I like the LJN knockoff ones. I do almost have that set complete. Those are okay. But most of the WCW figures were absolute garbage. I did not like the Toy Biz. So I don't see me ever going down those roads. You know, I've pretty much made it a pact in my head. I'm only getting stuff I like and stuff that I got, you know, I'm into. And even like some people say, well, some of that Jax is absolute garbage. And I'd be the first to agree with you because some of those Ruthless Aggressions, you know, it's a different stripe on a shoulder. That's the only difference. But it's a fun project I'm doing there. But I do love the Jax Ruthless Aggression. So, but yeah, definitely those WCW ones. Just woof, bad news. No, thank you.
So I've got a two-part question for you. So I guess really it's kind of predicated on your answer. I'm just going to combine them and ask them. You can do with it what you will. So part one of the question is, are you running out of room? And I guess the second part isn't really predicated on, but we'll ask it anyway. So first part is, are you running out of room? Second part, if you had to stop collecting one of your toy lines due to space issues, which would it be?
Everybody's shocked that I'm not even close to running out of room. I mean, I got a lot of room. Like I said earlier, if I was mitten box, there'd be troubles, that's for sure. I'd be past capacity by now. But loose, I mean, I've done a lot of rearranging, a lot of tightening up. My Detolf wall of Mattels, there's still a lot of room for figures in there. I mean, I probably got another year till I need a new Detolf for Mattel just by space and tightening things up. You guys have seen that Jack's Classic Superstars room. Theoretically, I could put a Detolf village kind of in the middle of the room, kind of almost like a library. I mean, I could do that. But I also have my large furnace room, utility room, that I'm working on right now, trying to get a plan together. A lot of G.I. Joe stuff in there, and that's kind of my goal, is to expand that into more of G.I. Joe and possibly move Star Wars and maybe Power Rangers down in there, having that kind of a offshoot of my office, I guess you would say. So I got all that room there. I do got room in my regular toy rooms, a lot of room still. But I also got, my kids' playroom. David jokes about it all the time. When are you taking that thing over? And, we're getting closer and closer every day. My kids have a very large playroom in that basement. It wasn't a part of my walkthrough video because, it's all my kids' toys. But I'm sure a lot of you parents out there, David, your kids are a little older than mine, but they're all obsessed with iPads and the internet and stuff like that. I mean, that's what it seems younger kids are into, my kids included. They do play with their toys every once in a while, but primarily they're playing games on their iPad. So I view their toy days kind of dwindling to an end. And I will take that room over. That will be my room. I don't know when, but in the next few years. I mean, I still got a couple of years. I think I probably got at least 5 years, maybe even 10 of space for my stuff in my area. But I gotta be realistic. By the time that happens, my kids are out of the house. I mean, I'm getting close. Hopefully it'll be close to retirement. I'm not going to retire when I'm 80. I'm going to try to go early. That's the plan, at least. Stock market come on, 401k stay strong. But eventually I'm going to have to sell all this stuff, and that's going to be a full-time job probably for a couple of years, selling this stuff as I get closer to retirement. But I think I have plenty of room to make me to the end of my collecting days. Which is shocking to people. People think I live in a huge mansion or something like that. And I do have a decent size. I mean, a 4-bedroom house or something. But it's not like, some estate or something like that with just room after room after room. But it's a good sized house, and you got to get creative. I mean, it helps having my office. I got a nice office that's just to me, and then the whole basement primarily to me. So there's a lot of real estate there. So, and then I guess the other part of the question, if I had to give up one of my collections, it would probably be the Star Wars Black Series. I do like Star Wars a lot, but really you could thin that down. You could thin that herd down pretty good and keep it to just some staples. And, I go in peaks. I love my Marvel Legends. I love wrestling, obviously, but sometimes Star Wars I wane a little bit, and then something happens and I get brought back hardcore into it. You guys always see I don't play the long game very often, but the one thing I do for the majority, a lot of times, is Star Wars. Because they do discount a lot. I know Black Series right now just went to $11 at Walmart. So I do play the long game. I don't get every single one of those right away as they come out. So I would say, just based on how I collect those, that would probably be the one I'd drop. Because if I cared about those the most, I would be all over it like I am the Elites and the Marvel Legends, having to have it day one, the NECA Turtles. The Star Wars I don't feel that way with. So to me, that tells me that's probably my least important part of my collection.
A lot of talk throughout our conversation about Detolfs. Again, a very important component for any serious collector, obviously, for those who have seen, whether it's the collection video or just any of the videos on the channel, you have a very unique setup for your Detolfs. They don't sit directly on the floor. So we have a question. What do you have your Detolfs sitting on?
Yeah, I get that question a lot, and it's Kallax, Kallax shelving units, kind of cube shelving units from IKEA, and that's where the Detolfs are from, IKEA as well. Those Kallax shelves come in all different varieties. I get the 4 cube, you can stand straight up or you can stand on the side. But then the thing that throws people off, I think, is the doors that are on them. You can buy those door inserts for those at IKEA, and that's where I have my Detolfs up off the ground. And I don't like the looks of the Detolf. Well, there's a couple things. I don't like the looks of the Detolf on the ground because I want it to be just that perfect height. I feel like the perfect height is on top of that cube. It gets it right eye level. You can see everything. And then when it's down on the ground, it wobbles, it shakes. Let's say, Lemmy's running around or bounces a ball into it. It's going to shake that unit. It's going to shake that glass. Just the walking on, with your shoes or your feet on the carpet, adjust that. So you'll have guys dominoing over and stuff like that. So, and I think it just looks a lot cleaner. Plus, you get great storage space down below. You can put stuff down there. I mean, I keep some boxes down there, accessories and stuff like that. It's just nice storage there. But I found it was a very, very clean look. When I was, when I bought my house, the basement was not finished, and I had a vision of what I wanted, and I've been mapping it out and planning it out for a long time. And that was part of my master plan and researching and doing that. I mean, it just didn't happen overnight. This was years of thinking, okay, one day when I get to my, I sell my smaller starter house and I get my dream house, and here's how I'm going to design it. Yeah, I mean, you guys have seen the walkthrough video, the secret doors. I've wanted secret doors since I was like 8 years old. Webster had all those crazy things in his stuff. I absolutely love Webster. And he had secret doors and secret dumbwaiters and stuff like that. And I've always dreamed of having that. So when I got to design my basement exactly how I wanted it, that's what I did. And the details were a big part of that. So kind of long-winded answer.
No, that's good. A lot of detail. That's what the people have come to expect. So another, I guess, hardware accessory related question. Why do you use the black stands for displaying the Mattel Elites?
And that comes up a lot too. I've answered that a few times, but it all goes back when the Mattels first came out in the Legend series and stuff. They had the black stands with them, so I wanted to continue that because they were black. But if I had to do it all over, I'd probably go with the clear stands, just because of clear. It looks kind of better, but I don't mind the black. But I'm in too deep. I mean, I don't even know how many black stands I have. Ringside Collectibles, come on, Ringside, you need to sponsor the show. But every Christmas, I load up on black stands. I mean, a ton. I buy a ton every Christmas when they have their big sales. And I stock up for the whole year. But if I had to do it over again, I'd go clear, but I'm stuck. I'm in too deep. I'm keeping them black.
Fair enough. We have an interesting question here from one of the viewers. What is the figure you found that made you the most giddy, and did you let out an audible noise?
Oh, jeez. Probably. I probably said yes. Or, if my daughter was with me, I probably shook her or something. But I'm trying to think of one. Gosh, I can't think of one off the top. I mean, I went back to that Rhino story way back to the early 90s. I mean, that was awe-inspiringly shocking. Actually, I could tell you the one that was the craziest one. So in the heart of the starting lineup days, in the height of the craziness of the starting, I mean, those that didn't live through that, you don't understand. You think it's hard finding these turtles and stuff like that. Starting lineups were next level back then. It was unbelievable. And one night, there was a high school football game, and right by the high school football stadium down the road was a Ace hardware store. And I went in there to grab a Mountain Dew real quick. And out of the corner of my eye, the collector, you guys know that collect hardcore, you can see things out of the corner of your eye. And at the top, way down the aisle, I saw a starting lineup case on the top shelving. And I thought I was almost dreaming. It was the extended series. They used to have an extended series of football. And that was the year Joe Montana went from the 49ers to the Chiefs. And that Chiefs one was extremely hard to get, extremely rare. And I went over there and I walked, and there it was. They had 6 or 7 cases of those in this Ace hardware store. And this is pre-cell phones, pre-everything. I ran outside to the the toll or the payphone window booth thing, put the quarters in, and called my dad. Dad, you got to get down to Ace Hardware. And he came hauling down, bought every single one of those. We traded a bunch of them at the Cincinnati starting lineup convention. But talk about figures in unexpected places where just absolutely shocking. I mean, that was, if you knew the scarcity and how hard those were back in the day, if any of you guys lived through that, it was quite the find. My dad and I still talk about it to this day, some 25 years later. It's been that long, I think. Yeah. Or somewhere around there. So that was just an absolutely huge moment that it was awe-inspiring, for sure. Figures in unexpected places is always, I would love to write a book or do something about figures in unexpected places. One time, same kind of scenario, a Pilot truck stop in the Des Moines area. I stopped in there to get gas and went in. I'm going to get something to drink. Right when you walked into the side, they had one of those big like cardboard dump bins full of the Jax Rocky figures, all like $1.99, $2.99 a piece. This is back when they were, those didn't set the world on fire, if anybody remembers back. They're worth a lot right now. But when they came out, I mean, they were okay. But the later sets, they didn't even make it to Toys R Us. I think they only went to KB because most retailers got rid of them. They weren't selling enough. Well, Pilot somehow got a ton of them. Imagine walking into a gas station, literally a gas station, and finding all these. I mean, stuff like that just always intrigues me. I love stories like that. And so those are the two that really, were jaw droppers for me that I was not expecting. And it just felt like I hit the gold mine, that's for sure.
All right. Well, we're down to the final three. So
perfect.
Here we go. So first of the last three questions, I'm going to put you on the spot. Jax or Mattel?
Oh, man. It's like choosing between children. One day one child's good. Rick Rude had staining all over him on the new one. So I'm like, oh, that wouldn't happen with Jax. I don't remember any stained figures. Well, I take that back because they've had stained figures with Jax too. But, I go back and forth. I obviously love the Mattels. A lot of people are like, oh, the Mattels are so better. But you got to take yourself back. And we're just going to talk classic superstars. You go back to, 2003, 2004. Those were so state of the art. They were such a fast forward into the future. And Mattel, yeah, they're great now, but think back then what you had before the classics. You didn't have soft goods like that. You didn't have, great figures in the head scans. I mean, you could tell. Go back to even the earliest Bone Crunchers. I could show my my aunt and say, hey, who's this? And she might guess Shawn Michaels. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. Well, there's no denying who they were for most of the time with classic superstars. That was a huge jump into the future. And then the one thing I do love about the classic superstars, the uniform packaging, that just hasn't been beat. I love the Elites, but the Elites have been all over in packaging size. Size, style, you name it. They don't fit uniform on a wall. If I had a Mattel Elite wall, it would be jagged, different colors and stuff. Not as eye appealing. So as far as packaging, classic superstars cannot be beat. Obviously, I do love the Mattels, the innovation they've got. And, 10 years from now, people are going to be talking about Mattel probably the same way they talk about some of the Jack stuff. Like, oh, that's so Mattel. But we'll see. But I do love them both. But I think just me, I love the nostalgia of the classic superstars just a hair more. That's for sure. So I'll go Jax. But ask me tomorrow, that might change.
Question number 2 of the finale. What is your most valuable figure?
Boy, I don't know. I never really judge things that way. I never really think about that. I mean, the Harley race I know is worth it. It's probably those 1 of 100 Terry Funk or Roddy Piper, probably. But the one that means the most to me is my LJN Loose Ultimate Warrior. I mean, that's a hefty figure. I mean, that's worth a lot. It's really shot up in the last few years. But if I had to save one, that would be the one. It's not my childhood one, but that was I was such an Ultimate Warrior maniac back then as a kid. And to finally get a toy to play with him, when I was 9 years old, that was so awesome. Whenever I see that figure, it takes me back. So that's the one that gives me my greatest. It's my Rosebud. If we're going to talk movie and film noir a little bit, that would be my Rosebud item. It would be that Ultimate Warrior LJN. So I would say that's maybe not monetarily wise my most valuable, but to me, that's my most valuable.
Okay. Last question and most important question.
Oh, boy.
What made you decide to start a YouTube channel?
Well, this is funny because I'm not a big self-promoter. I mean, I should probably on my social media, I should tag people more. I should put hashtags. I should tag people to get more shares and stuff. I always feel like I'm bothering people a lot of times, which I know isn't the case a lot of the time, but I'm not that self-promoter for the most part. But, David and I became friends via the Major Wrestling Figure Pod Facebook group. We live in the same town. David came over. He was hooking me up. What did you find from one of the first things I think you found was maybe one of those Royal Rumble sets at Target?
Ghostbusters.
Oh, that's right. You were in Chicago coming back,
yep.
And you
Yep.
about that for me.
Yep.
So David's been a great help in me finding stuff, that's for sure, and very very helpful. And David, coming over and dropping stuff off, or me picking up and befriending him and figuring stuff out. He came over, he saw the collection. He helped me with my collection video. I don't know if you guys know that. I think some do, that he was the cameraman for that video. But David is smart. He understands what to do. So I really got to give you credit, because I don't think without a little bit of a push, I probably wouldn't have done this. But David, you said something to the effect of, you got so much stuff, you might as well show it. Because I remember saying, well, what am I going to talk about? I don't have any content. Well, here I am. I put out a video every single day. And I always say, I'll put out a video every single day until I can't. But there's always, at the end of the day, I might be out of stuff to talk about, but I always have something I could unbox. I like to do the deep dives on the Jack's Classic Superstars. I like to do some of those reviews, but I can flesh out some stuff with weekly purchases is fun. Fig hunting videos is fun. But those other days, I can flesh that out with some quick unboxing videos. And hey, it's cool to see, and it's fun to do. I mean, it's not really that hard. It's not that taxing for me. A little secret to the channel, I film a lot of stuff on Sunday. I'm extremely busy during the week for the most part. I work a lot of hours. I almost work 2 full-time jobs a lot of weeks. So it's a little bit of a rest relaxation. Early Sunday mornings, I get up early and I knock out a bunch of unboxing videos or whatever. I knock out a lot of content then. But I would have never started the channel without our Q&A, our master of ceremonies here, David Anderson, giving me a little push. And it's been fun. I mean, it's been a lot funner than I thought it would be. It's great interacting with people. And then, I'll call out the bat signal out there. Hey, here's what I'm looking for. And people will direct me in the right place. I mean, I'm pretty good at finding stuff, but it's been awesome. People helping me out, people finding stuff, hook me up. It's been great. So I owe it all to David C. Anderson, because I wouldn't have taken the step. And obviously, David helped me a lot getting set up for this video. I'm not the most technology wizard. We had some Skype fun trying to get this going, but we'll give David all the blame or all the heroics for this one.
Yeah, I'll take the blame on this one. But no, I'm very proud of all the hard work that you've done. You say it isn't very taxing. It's a lot of work. Don't let him fool you. It's a lot of work to keep up a channel, to put out new content every single day, and at the same time working 60, 70, 80 hours a week. And oh, by the way, also trying to be a husband, trying to be a dad. So don't let him fool you. It's a lot of work, but obviously it's something that you really enjoy, and it comes through in the videos. So I appreciate you letting me be a very small part of the overall product for whatever this is and what it will become. But it's been fun to see the evolution of where this has gone, because you're right. I was telling you this a long time ago. I don't want to. Nobody wants to watch that. What would I talk about? Like,
and there we have it. A quick Q&A. David
really
Anderson, thank you for helping me out with this. We'll probably do a Q&A video maybe once or twice a year. As the questions come in, I'll tally them up and we'll go from there. But I appreciate David sitting down. I thought it was a little funner to have somebody ask me the questions than just me sitting there reading them off a piece of paper or reading them off an iPad or something along them lines. So hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to like the video. Don't forget to comment. Don't forget to subscribe. And until next time, we'll see you guys real soon.